hateful thing. So let's make sure that we're live. I think I can do it in less than 10. So the Joe Rogan experience is still up. You can still hear that. And you can hear the upraising right before the downplaying of microwave radiation. So let's take a trip down memory lane so we see where we're at. We're at a couple posts. So like 300, 400, 471, no reposts. I'm not showing this to brag or whine. Oh, look at me not getting reposts. I'm not getting looked at. No, this is for you kids. I want you to see that. They're under a spell and they can't help you. About page legal art exposure and environmental health trust is your go-to. You have a place called Green Banks, West Virginia. It's the quiet zone. It's about the cheapest place that I can think of. Instead of trying to shield, you ain't gonna be able to do it. It's gonna be engulfed and people make money on it. So stopping it is pretty hard. But I figured I could call it Elon Musk. Maybe he could get the ball rolling, even though it would destroy your whole company for the good. Let's listen.
I guess people are like really worried about like cell phone towers, thinking they cause like radiation or something poisoning. This is not true.
Yeah, people are worried about 5G, right?
Don't worry about it.
No, not at all.
I mean, no. Like, let me put it this way, like, if I had cell phones, if I had a helmet of cell phones,
Right?
strapped around my head and around my nuts, I would not
You're
worry.
good?
Yeah.
Yeah, I met a dude.
unfolding. And what the court did is it actually looked at the evidence. And the most important thing it said is that it could not find any indication that the FCC had actually read the substantial record of scientific evidence, the evidence on long-term exposure, the vulnerability of children. And the 2021 decision specifically said that the FCC had completely failed even to acknowledge, let alone to respond to comments concerning the impact of RF radiation on the environment.
And you see from
Environmental
the past
effects have
videos
never been
that we go
considered by the
through on where our safety guidelines came to right now. Elon, you're using outdated safety guidelines that are 45 years old, and they're based on the 1980 rat and monkey test, where they were
and all Western governments for the
where they were blasted with microwave radiation to the point where they couldn't push a food lever, even though they were starving. This is alarming and factual.
Guidelines, they only looked at studies that were an hour or less. Now we're talking about the exposures that we're getting 24/7. To set those guidelines, they only looked at a 1 hour or less. So what was pointed out, and I'll just click through these in the interest of time, is that they took these animals that had been trained to push a lever to get food, and they put them in a room, and they were food deprived. They put them in a cage and kept ramping up the electromagnetic fields that they were exposed to till the point where they could no longer perform that very simple task of pushing the lever to get food, even though they were starving. So they took that and declared that as being the upper limit for exposure. And then they divided that number by 50. In the case of workers, they only divided that by 10. But for the population in general, they took that upper limit, the point at which monkeys even got burns on their faces from the very high exposure, divided it by 50 and said, that's fine. That's okay for the public in general. This is why I wanted you to see it a second time, because it's just so important and it's so very wrong. So that's where those guidelines came up from. So if you hear anybody talking about FCC guidelines and, well, we're within compliance, this is what they're talking about. It's woefully inadequate. And that safety factor.
So it's like, you can tell me that you're within compliance and there's the truth. That's not science. That's evil. That's diabolic. That's diabolic. Diabolic and testable with a Safe and Sound Pro meter, a wave mount RF60, which is used for cell phone tower workers and radiologists. So yeah. So let's put this bun in the oven and get it done, right? I mean, you're about saving humanity, right? So why don't you just take a walk on the wild side, go over to Environmental Health Trust, gather up some of their experts that you can request. You say you can wrap it around your head and your balls, show your work. You know? Oh, I gotta flip it around the other way. We learned that the last time. I want you to be able to read it. So, you got Environmental Health Trust, the think tank that won against the FCC, and you can request an expert. You can request an expert for what? An expert. A large number of global experts to share high-level research documentation on the harm impacts of radiation from cell phones and cell towers. You don't see an expert in the field in the list, you can request one. Isn't that something? You get a name of a scientist that puts their name and reputation on the line to show the damaging effects. So why wouldn't you do that? I mean, it's right there, right? I mean, you can go on Joe Rogan show and downplay it. Now you can go back on it and show the kids, don't wrap it around your nuts and don't make a helmet out of it. And probably don't want to ride in an e-vehicle. You would fuck your company. But you would be looking like the savior of humanity, fucking straight on, fucking down, right? I mean, we're not talking about just a few scientists. We're talking about a plethora. A plethora. I mean, if someone told you had a plethora and they didn't know what a plethora was, you know, but this is a plethora. 252 scientists from 43 nations. So why wouldn't you just say, well, I'm Elon Musk, I'm going to put him on blast? It would have happened with the FCC versus the Environmental Health Trust. They would have gathered up those scientists and put the smack down on their bullshit over at Environmental Health Trust. But that didn't happen. They lost, arbitrary and capricious. And you lied. And I want to make it clear. Probably not your fault. Whatever's telling you, whatever in your head about this way to save humanity, let's test that motherfucker out, right? Safe and Sound Pro meter, third-party tested. Wavemon RF60, 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, 30 days. You get a great thing. And then you have Building Biologist Institution. There's another one for you. We could go over to any of the schools that you gave out your Starlink to, and we could bring these guys over there, right? There's a whole list. You'd have to fly them out to those other countries, but you got a whole list. Anyone right now can go hire one of these people to go test your home. Now, when you're doing that, make sure that you don't ask them any severe health questions because they only know how to bring it down to a safe level. There may be someone there with a background knowledge of as much as these do. So when you get those results, make sure you have a serious, hardcore question. You bring in one of them and you make a film about it so you can show everyone, teachers, parents, everyone. And a Safe and Sound Pro meter is about $1,000. And once I do get one, hopefully with my settlement going through, I will be testing them day and night. You talk about birth rates going down, look at that. When you have sensors in your vehicles, yes, I understand you're thinking great things. Oh, it weighs you, it adjusts you, and it deploys the airbag so you're safer. But the microwave radiation that comes out of electric vehicles do not have to be disclosed, and that's dangerous. It's also in the Tesla shareholders meeting with Deborah Davis, the Environmental Health Trust think tank vice president. So, what are we doing here? You're saying wrap it around your head and your balls. You're saying microwave sickness not true, and you upplayed all your stuff. That's not good, right? I'm just trying to show love, right? So make it right. You know, there's a video. You lied. Maybe you didn't know physics and the health effects of those things that you can make. Barry Char explains it. Yeah, you can make good, really awesome things, but you don't know the health effects of what they are, especially to a child. 10 times more